Okay, great. Jace, are you ready?
I'm ready.
People at home, are you ready? Of course you're ready. You're here watching a video. Let's get to work. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to MyGolfDNA, where we help you get better at the game of golf. And today, we are inside the lab with our normal Tour Pro analysis, and we have first-time winner on the PGA Tour, Mr. Robert MacIntyre. I know he's got a lot of fans out there, and I learned a factoid about him yesterday that I thought was very intriguing. And so before we dive into this golf swing today, I think it's probably pretty safe to say when you're good at 3 sports, and you excel in golf like you do, then there's probably a pretty strong chance that you have a lot of athleticism in your bloodline. And athleticism is one of those things that a lot of us feel like we don't have. But we're going to help you untap your athleticism, and we're going to help you move from the top half of the golf swing down into impact like you're supposed to. That's right. Sequence is everything. And a lot of times people get wrapped up in these sort of misconceptions when it comes to the sequence of movements that takes place in the golf swing. And today what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing in on Robert's movement from the get-go. We're going to be focusing in on his load process, and then we're going to be really focusing in on his movement from 9 o'clock down to impact all the way through into a full release. And I'm going to start getting the wheels turning in your brain because later on in the week, Jace and myself and you are going to be heading out to the range, and we're going to be doing a slingshot drill that is really, really freaking awesome. Jace, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
It is really good. And it's going to help you get your body in the correct position so that you can move properly from the ground up, and you can start feeling what it's like to move through the hitting area like you would see of the best players in the world. So hopefully you guys are ready to take that ride with us. Now, let's head inside. Let's take a look at this golf swing. Oh yeah, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a big favor. Before we jump into this, head down below, hit the subscribe button, and click the bell notifications. That way you get notifications anytime we put out new content. And if you like today's video, do us a big favor. Hit the thumbs up button. It's good for our psyche. Makes us feel good about ourselves. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post that up below. We love to help people. We love to answer questions. We love to continue to help spread our message all over the golfing world. Now, let's get busy. So one of the things that I love most about Robert's golf swing is the fact that it's a very simple golf swing. It doesn't have a lot of big added movement to it that doesn't need to be there. He's using the entire body in a very specific sequence. And one of the things that gets a lot of people into trouble is moving early on in the wrong order. We want to start the golf swing with weight shift and body turn. The hips, they're going to be moving very dynamically. The hips are the driving force of the golf swing. And a lot of times people get this sort of like stuck in the mud sort of approach, and they don't allow the lower body to move accurately. And what it takes to actually move the lower body accurately is a little pressure shift into the trail side, which you can see here from a face-on perspective. If you look at it really closely in relationship to the placard that we have on the ground back here, you can see that there's a little bit of a horizontal movement of the body. But if you look at it really closely from this sort of up the lines perspective, as you can see that not only is he pressure shifting into his trail side with a little bit of horizontal movement, but he's allowing that lead hip to turn in ever so slightly. That starts the process of being able to turn and load into the trail hip properly. Now what you're going to find is with most athletic style golf swings out there is that the hips are going to rotate somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees going back, and it's going to happen very early in the process. And most of the time when you see the lead arm get past the 9 o'clock position, you're going to see that the hips become very, very slow, very still. This is where the upper body is creating its full turn. This is where we're creating a lot of separation between the hip line and the shoulder line. And as you can see here, that as he starts to near the top of the backswing, the hands and arms are still reaching back to try to get to their pinnacle, and the legs and the hips are starting to change direction. That's how we're creating a lot of separation between the hip line and the shoulder line, and that's allowing the core and the trunk to get really engaged here. And that's a very powerful move that eventually is going to turn into a whole lot of speed down through the bottom of the swing arc. So to get the golf swing started on the right tone, you want to allow your lead hip to turn in as you're starting to pressure shift onto the trail side. We have a brand new video that's just released on the website as of today that actually shows you how to do just that. And it was inspired by one of our members that came in for a lesson that had sort of this movement where the hips were moving too much horizontally. And this solved the problem very, very quickly. Now, most of our focus that we're going to be working on later on in the week is going to be from the 9 o'clock position down, from about the lead arm parallel to the ground. This is where Robert's golf swing is absolutely superb. And what you're going to find with all playing professionals from this section of the golf swing down is that, yes, it's going to have a different appearance in how they get to the impact zone, but the acceleration and the deceleration from the lower body is really what's the driving force of the entire sequence. The hips are going to go from 30 to 40 degrees wound to 30 to 40 degrees open before the point of contact. That's a very, very large amount of movement. And what you want to remember is that that movement is going to be pulling the torso and the shoulders around. Looking at this position after transition is complete, you can see that he's got a bulk of his pressure now parked underneath his lead ankle. The shoulders are nice and closed the hips are back to a square position. Now, if you think about this, he's going to be trying to open those hips up somewhere between 35 and 45 degrees. He can open those hips up by driving down into that ankle and working those obliques to pull the hip back, and that in turn is pulling the shoulders around into a nice square position so that he can start to release the club. That is the acceleration and the deceleration of the body in the finest sort of order. And that's where we start to slow everything down, the hands and arms become independent, and we put max speed down here where it matters the most, and that's at impact. We want the club moving fast where, Jace?
At impact.
At impact. Now, if you look at this from the front corner panel here, or the up the line sort of perspective, I want you to watch the belt buckle. You can see the belt buckle rotates open and then becomes very quiet through the release. You can see now as the hands and arms start to pass up through 3 o'clock, the hips start to wake back up and he moves up into a full finish position. So get your golf swing started on the right tone. Use the lead hip laser beam drill to help get that proper blend of horizontal and rotational movement. And then be on the lookout for the slingshot drill, because I'm going to teach you how to get your upper body and your lower body in a great spot after transition's complete. And then I'm going to teach you how to work from transition down through the point of contact like an absolute athlete